some like supervillain organization like Scepter or something decides to go take all those people hostage, then all of a sudden 21 people is not censorship resistant. That being said, I'd say less than 70% of all applications that I think are really valid to be built on top of blockchains actually require censorship resistance. So money, Bitcoin, that requires censorship resistance. You want nobody to be able to exert influence over money. Augur, which is decentralized betting, prediction making. That's something that's going to piss off a lot of governments and large financial institutions.
That's by the way one of his startups.
And so that needs to be on top of Ethereum. And there will be a handful.
Augur's built on
Ethereum. Yeah. And so there will be a handful of applications that need high levels of censorship resistance. But I'd say anything in supply chain, enterprise level applications, government level applications of blockchain technology, EOS is actually a really strong use case because
where do you see it being used? What's the practical
like supply chains, digital identity, things like what else is a good any sort of governance application.
It's very fast too.
Yes, it's super fast and it's super scalable, so it can hold payment networks. I mean,
yeah, that's what I say. Like, you know, the big thing that people argue, the critics, is, well, people still using their Visa card. This is, you know, if you look at how you spend money now, especially in the United States and most Western countries, it's going on cards. And Bitcoin probably can't handle that, right? If all of a sudden everybody was doing their credit card transaction on Bitcoin network, it's going to explode.
The Bitcoin network can handle up to about 7 transactions a second.
Yeah.
The Visa network can handle up to 6,000.
Yeah.
But
and
the EOS
is
they claim over tens of thousands.
Yeah, faster than the Visa network.
And this is also one of the reasons why you can't do micropayments with Visa. Unless you're like iTunes and Apple, very few vendors can get payment relationships where they can accept less than $100 or $1 per transaction.
Yeah, because there's too much cost.
So if you're talking about content sharing and content creating,
yes, like something like Steam.
Yeah, you actually need a much more scalable infrastructure for payments than even Visa has. Bitcoin is not that solution.
So do you think something like Steam in the future would be built on EOS?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same founder. Dan Larimer created both.
But faster than Ethereum?
Yes, but less censorship resistant.
Yeah.
But Ethereum will go to proof of stake, but proof of stake still won't be as fast as delegated proof of stake, which is what EOS has.
Yeah, so proof of stake, basically Bitcoin is not proof of stake.
No, it's proof of work.
So
proof of work.
That's why you have miners.
Yeah, so it requires all these like supercomputers all around the world. Proof of stake is less computationally intensive. Anybody that owns Ether, for example, could stake their Ether, which allows for the validation of transactions. But still, every staker in the network still has to validate a transaction, which means thousands of computers have to validate every single transaction in the network, and that's just not scalable.
So let's talk about this. I want to go through. You good to keep talking?
I can talk for days. I'm literally in interview mode, man. I mean,
that's good. You guys are getting lucky. Jeremy Gardner, for those of you coming in late, he is. This is going to need. No, it's going to need a charge.
Oh, gotcha.
Jeremy Gardner, he is 25 years old. He's made millions, and he's being conservative here on the show. He's made a ton of money with crypto. He has been in it, got into the Ether under $1. He's a partner, and now he's switching to his own fund, but in blockchain capital, which is really the biggest and most well-known.
First guys to invest in blockchain technology.
Blockchain technology with Brock Pierce, who was also on my show. You guys are watching the live version. For those of you listening later, we'll have it on YouTube and Facebook and on my new blockchain podcast. It's the Ty Lopez Bitcoin. It's already, I don't know if you saw it, shot to number 10 in the world of all podcasts.
Oh, I'm sure.
And now
everyone wants to learn about Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's number 2 in business, last I checked today. So make sure you subscribe to that, because this is stuff you are learning from the smartest people in the world. And the whole idea here is I'm a relative newbie to the world of crypto. I mean, I've been watching it for a while, but I've been around the game of money for quite a long time, over a decade. And whenever I want to learn something, I believe in mentors. So I go out and find people, and so today's mentor that's being shared with you is Jeremy, and he built Augur, which is a couple $100 million market cap on the company, a prediction kind of betting tool built on the blockchain. And we've had, Brock Pierce, we had William on, one of the top traders. He built the trading desk for Science, the crypto trading desk. And if you want to learn even...
I managed Will as a DJ when he was in college.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we went to college together. Yeah, and I was his manager.
That's funny. And so, for those of you who want to go a little more in-depth, then we can even go on the show, because we're not going to go for days and days. I've got a 60-day program. You go to tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast, and it'll take you, and you can enter. It's a paid program. Isn't that the URL? tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast? Yeah. So let's talk about exchanges and wallets. This is a big thing, and I think one of the things, I was reading an article or a note, I think it was from either Vitalik or Vinny Lingam or one of these guys, and they were talking about one of the problems now why banks more money's in the conventional banking world. It's very simple. Whereas wallets are complicated for people, and people are having to learn these new things like private keys, and oh my gosh, I store it, in cold storage and hot wallet. It's like very confusing for people. To be your own bank, which you're allowed to kind of do with crypto, is scary to people. So what do you think, for people new in the game, let's talk about your initial purchase of some of this cryptocurrency, whether it be the big ones, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or the alternative coins. We've talked about Stellar, and we've talked about Ripple and stuff. Where do you recommend people start buying? Do they buy? Coinbase is the biggest.
Yeah.
What others do you like?
If you're in the U.S., Coinbase is really your best option. I mean, unless you're comfortable with a traditional financial exchange and that trading interface, Coinbase has its GDAX, which is
GDAX.
Like that. Kraken, I think you can buy it from now, and there's Gemini out of New York. That's
those three you like the best.
Well, no. So those are good for exchange interfaces. Yes. If you just want a simple buy-sell interface, Coinbase is the best. Circle used to be great, but they shut down that business a while ago. I'm sure they're regretting it now. I don't even know. I mean,
Coinbase now. Let's talk about to buy altcoins, because Coinbase you're not necessarily buying.
Yeah.
Ripple, you're not buying Stellar, you're not buying Sense, you're not buying, so where do you recommend people buy for the alternatives?
So, first of all, don't keep your money on the exchange if you're comfortable securing it yourself. There's a massive amount of exchange risk. These exchanges get hacked, and Bitcoin is crypto is like cash. It's not like a stock. It's not like a wire. It's not like a credit card charge. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, if you lose your cash, if you leave $10,000, if you have my true story, my dad came once in my life. I didn't grow up with my dad, but once in my life, when I started making a little bit of money, I sent him a ticket. I said, let's go on a trip to Puerto Rico. Only trip I ever did in my life with my dad. So he flies in, meets me in Puerto Rico, and he's having a heart attack. He's not literally, but he's like, Ty, this is the worst day of my life. I want to go back to LA. I'm like, Dad, what happened? He's like, so my dad was unbanked. One of the things that crypto is going to help with is unbanked. My dad was born in Harlem, not to wealthy family. His dad worked in the mechanic in the subway system. Harlem is not a rich place. My dad never has had a bank account in his life to this day. He's never had a credit card. He doesn't trust it. My dad went to prison, so he doesn't love the system. And so he kept in cash. So we're in Puerto Rico, and he goes, I had $3,000 in my sock. And my sock is not in my luggage anymore. You lose it. You lose $3,000. You can't walk up to somebody, even if you saw them steal the cash from you, unless you have proof, video of them taking it. They are just like, I already had $3 grand.
You're gonna have to snuff them. You're gonna have to
don't snuff them. But now we know how Jeremy thinks. He may murder you if you steal it. But
don't steal my money.
Yeah, don't steal your money, or he has Pablo Escobar's cousin coming for you. So. Let's talk. So if you put money on exchange and the exchange folds, what's the one you were talking about earlier? That folded exchange?
Circle.
No, not Circle. You're talking about earlier, the big one that got hacked.
Mailbox.
Yeah. So there's precedent for these things disappearing. So if you're going to take your money, so Gemini, Kraken, Coinbase, If you're taking your money off, okay, what do you like?
Cold storage is really good. I mean, so I like Coinbase because they're insured.
Yes.
So like, unless you're responsible, which you probably will be if you get hacked, but if they get hacked, all their money is insured up to every single coin that they hold.
Does it have a limit though on FDIC?
No, it's a broader insurance than that. It's
Okay,
like they don't have
FDIC.
FDIC.
So keeping it in Coinbase
it's fine if
you're going to keep it on.
If you have good security and don't have your phone number used as a recovery option.
What do you use? Do you use like a Google Auth?
Yeah, so use Google Auth, and then
that's an app you download called Google Authenticator.
It's don't have your phone number used as a recovery option.
That way, if somebody stores
so use Google Auth, and then
that's an app you download called Google Authenticator.
Don't have your phone number used as a recovery option. That way, so use Google Auth, and then that's an app you download called Google Authenticator. Don't have your phone number used as a recovery option. This happened. No, this has happened. I'm the only one of my close colleagues I know.
So is that using a Google number? Was that a trick?
No. So what? Well, yes. So that's why they didn't get me.
They couldn't transfer
because my phone number wasn't associated with any of my online accounts. So that was really big. But if you want to secure your crypto, hardware wallets are a great place to start. Trezor.
Yeah.
I just got my Ledger Nano Blue, which is like a little iPad where you can see all your cryptos on.
You believe in a dedicated laptop?
One
of my trader buddies, he's like, dude, I got a laptop I don't use for anything else.
I should 100% have my own laptop, like a little Chromebook. It's fine. It costs $200, $150 off Amazon. And you should probably do all your trading on that. You should use
tape it to your body, sleep with it,
and wear an explosive vest. So if anyone tries to take it, at least you're going with it.
It's real simple to do. You just walk around with stuff strapped.
No. But hardware storage is a really good place to go. But really, any uninsured exchange is a bad place. But if you want to buy alts, there's Poloniex, there's Kraken, there's BitTorrent, there's Binance, which my friends have been raging about. I haven't used it yet.
Poloniex, BitTorrent is kind of the biggest.
Yeah, those are the big ones. But Binance is based out in South Korea. Well, who knows? Because South Korea just kind of banned Bitcoin banking illegally.
Let's talk about this for a second. Our government's going to have a little, I could see this coming to a place, right now it's not big enough that it's threatening fiat currency. It's not quite there yet.
Right.
It's
in some countries, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, it does 100%.
Yes, but Zimbabwe is in chaos.
Yeah.
So
is Venezuela.
Yes, Venezuela, but Venezuela is even this massive dictatorship. But Venezuela's kind of embraced it with their own coin, Petro coin.
Oh, that's crazy. Who knows what that
is? I don't recommend buying anything put together by the Venezuelan.
Don't buy it. Yeah, government issued.
It's called a dictator coin. Yeah. Who wants this? Joseph Stalin. So, do you think there comes a time when the U.S. government, this happened in Russia, this happened in China, this happened in Korea, do you think there is a time where the U.S. government goes, hell no, and they'll say that it's a threat to the stability of the U.S. finance system and the global economy, so they're going to have reasons to come in. What's your worry there?
4 years ago when I got into this industry, that was the #1 existential threat to crypto. Yes. And then since then, it's actually much more become internal strife, especially within Bitcoin. But now we're moving forward to today, after having suffered so many hacks, so much bad PR, so many bad things have happened in crypto, I'm now actually convinced once again that they're probably the largest real long to crypto assets are probably state actors, primarily the United States. That being said,
usually you don't hear it that way. Usually state actors is like bad actors.
No, it's really just the United States, and I'm pretty sure that's not a real threat. We've done such an incredible job as an industry going and being proactive with legislators, with regulators. We have our own caucus in Congress, the Blockchain Caucus. I've met with many of those senators and House representatives, and they get it. And there aren't really any true enemies of crypto. Now, what I think will happen is that eventually, just like what's happening in China and Russia, where they're creating their state-issued, distributed ledger-based cryptocurrencies, but that will be stable and obviously issued by the government. I think we'll probably see that in the U.S. Janet Yellen said that they had...
That was yesterday or a couple days ago.
Well, yeah, a little while ago. Janet Yellen repeatedly actually said that the government had to explore a blockchain or distributed ledger-based dollar. But that's much, much different than a cryptocurrency. Yeah. Cryptocurrencies are totally public, auditable. Usually they're floating. These are state issued and are actually much scarier than the currencies that we have today because they are they're like big brother coins. Yes. Because with the Bitcoin blockchain, you have a publicly auditable history of every single transaction that's ever occurred. But with U.S.-backed cryptocurrency, they know who's making every transaction, what you're transacting, a level of detail that is not currently available in conventional crypto.
Just remember this. If you could go back in history, time machine, year by year back, and listen to the predictions that were made each year, predictions are somewhat of a fool's game. And when you meet people, this is why it kind of pisses me off. What was the big banker, Jamie
Dimon.
Jamie Dimon. These people making these definitive claims are just idiots. Yeah, no, he's probably not an idiot. He probably has some...
Jamie Dimon's very smart.
Yeah, but he has some underlying...
He's protecting his own interests.
Yeah, but that's still bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, but look, he has a publicly traded company.
Jamie Dimon's very smart. Yeah, but he has some Shut up about it. If you don't lie. Don't be like, oh...
I mean, but you look at...
And he's backtracked. He's like, oh, baby...
He goes back and forth. Don't listen to bankers and their opinion on Bitcoin, unless they like it, and then you can listen.
No, but don't listen. Hey, this is one thing I like Charlie Munger, a business partner of Warren Buffett, billionaires. They said, beware of extreme ideologies. When you meet people who say, a Bitcoin will be at 1 million tomorrow, buy today, they're probably wrong. It's too extreme of an ideology. When you meet people who say, oh, Bitcoin will crash and this is the next tulip mania, which people don't know what tulip mania. First of all, tulip mania in the 1700s, tulips had very little utility. It wasn't storable. It didn't have finite number of circulation like Bitcoin. It's not a good analogy. No. So why be at the extreme? Why not be in the middle? That's how intelligent people talk.
Yeah, know what you don't know. I don't even claim to be an expert on this stuff.
There is no expert. You know, one of my biggest things that pisses me off, like now I'm posting a little more on my Twitter and stuff, and I have a pretty big Twitter following, so I get to have every weirdo in the world reply, and people are like, Ty, you're new to this. And I'm like, how fucking long have you been in it?
2 years.
Since 2016. Whoa, you are a fucking OG of money. Just because the shit's gone up in the 1 year, you didn't have shit to do with it. Did you build the fucking blockchain technologies that is going? No. You read 3 blog posts, 2 Reddits, and 1 Steam article, and you are now the expert and mad at me for coming in. And one guy admitted, at least he was intellectually honest, he's like, well, I'm kind of salty because I was in it before you. And I'm like, this is not some hipster bullshit where, the hipster stereotype is like, I heard of this band first. Well, fuck you. I heard of it second. 2 is bigger than 1.
Well, 2... It's Metcalfe's law. It's the power of the network is greater with every additional participant in the network. We want more people. The more people that buy, the higher the price goes. Yeah. And the more we win because
people are too stupid to think that.
It's not a competition. This is not.
And the whole technology is decentralizing money. To decentralize money, you need the world decentralized doesn't mean 17 people in their basement know about it. And just because you know the name of this, I'm going to start challenging everybody who's a hater and says they're an expert. I'm going to be like, okay, show me lines of code you're writing on a blockchain technology. And if you really are writing code and you are like a foundational, fundamental person in this world, then you are a true expert.
But I push back.
But those people are too...
Well, I'll push back because you're probably an expert on 1 blockchain. You probably know Bitcoin
right.
really well. You don't know Ethereum.
Yes.
You don't know anything about XRP. You don't know anything about any Tezos, Filecoin. Like you can only focus on one thing. And thus, none of us are experts. We're all constantly learning.
The whole point is we're trying to not have centralized experts. That's like the banking system.
You shouldn't rely on experts. I mean, that's the whole idea of Augur. It's instead of relying on one person You have thousands of people
It's
putting their money.
crowdsourced decision making.
Yeah, you have thousands.
Collaborative intelligence is the technical word.
People putting their money where their mouth is. I hate talking heads because they're never willing to put money down on what they're saying. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
You have to put your money.
Think
down.
about sports. You get these people like I like basketball, and you get these people like, oh, Lonzo Ball's a bust, or Brandon Ingram of the Lakers a bust. I'm like, and then when they're not a bust, take Brandon Ingram. All of a sudden, those same talking heads are like, I love Brandon Ingram. I'm like, dude, it's not how the game goes. Predictions are for fools. You can only play statistical odds. You can say, for example, when I look at Lonzo Ball, or when I look at Brandon Ingram, or when I look at LeBron, I'm not seeing the statistics backing up, but who knows, maybe it'll change. That's how intelligent people talk. Like, even I was listening how you talked about, let's say, IOTA or Steam, which you're not necessarily super bullish on, but you're like, look, I don't know a ton about them. For me personally, I'm not buying them. You know what I mean? And that's how smart people talk. So be very careful, especially in this game. Early adopters are often great people and are often weirdos. And
total freaks.
God, I go to some crypto events and I'm like, this will not become widespread if these are the spokespeople, because people might be worried that these are axe murderers. Some of them are axe murderers. Like,
yeah,
and they're not. We're all weird in our own way. I'm not trying to disparage
anybody. Look at what's
anybody.
happening on Hollywood. There are a lot of predators out there. Freaks.
There's good people and bad people everywhere. There's early adopters that are good. My point is, simply being an early adopter doesn't give you some special entitlement to be more able to talk about this than anyone else.
The earlier someone got into crypto, the stupider they were, because the probability of this shit working out was so low back then. It's just like I was stupid for dropping out of college and going all in. I went against the odds. Yes. If I wanted to create a statistical analysis of how I'd be successful in life, dropping out of school and creating crazy decentralized application was not the way to do it.
But it worked.
It worked.
So you laugh last.
But I'm not here like making fun of anyone for not being in crypto. When I got in, I made a choice because I was so philosophically driven to what I was doing, but it was not because I wanted to be better than anyone else. Yeah. You should never do anything to be better than other people.
No, you should. That's intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic. You want to be intrinsically motivated. Like, there's something you want to do. You're not going, I want to be better than somebody else. But look, we all have our flaws. I got plenty of them. I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm just saying, remember this. This is a game where anybody's going to be able to get in. You're going to have kids.
Anybody that gets into crypto now and puts in a fairly diverse portfolio of really strong crypto assets that are generally accepted as not being scams or being well thought out, you're going to do well. You just have to forget about it, put it in some cold storage, throw it in the safe or bank deposit box, wherever you feel it will be secure, and just let it sit there.
And some of you will become traders. Like, one thing Brock told me is like, look,
Brock is the worst trader in the world. I'll tell you.
But he says for him, he's a value hold. But he said, if you have the skill of trading, yes, this can be traded. If you don't have the skill of trading, don't trade.
But if you don't know quantitative analytics, and you don't know machine learning, once again, I'd argue that you probably shouldn't trade. Yes. I don't believe in technical analysis. I don't believe that's a real thing. I believe that, what you can do in a bear market, trading makes sense. When the price of cryptos aren't moving that much, you'll make more money trading. But in a bull market like today, just hold the good technology, and it goes up so much, you actually will lose out by trading.
Okay, we're going to do a speed round as we wrap up here, and we're going to record some stuff for the program. You got a minute after this to record a lesson or two?
Are these people always so angry?
Oh, dude, actually, I will say this has been one of the least... People are loving it. This is a great video. The world market's about to crack. People are talk Stratus, thoughts on Ripple. I love you guys.
Okay, all right, now we're getting positive.
No, dude, this is what I've learned. It's very interesting. YouTube Live has the most haters, but the most intelligent people.
Interesting.
It's like very divided. So Facebook is more positive in general, always. Yeah. Instagram is definitely more positive.
Yeah. Well, they do a very good job. They've done that. Insta, actually, you may have lost. You may have cursed.
You lost Insta. Did you actually triple check it was charging?
It may have been charging, but not charging fast.
It was plugged in.
It's live. It's got right here.
Huh?
No, trust
me. There's no display though.
Gone. Oh, okay. You can tell.
No, it probably just died because it wasn't charging fast enough.
As I said, it crashed. Twitter is interesting because Twitter for sure has the most kids in their basement
But Twitter,
but also has a lot of crypto smart people.
if you want to learn about crypto in real time, the best place to learn, there's no website, there's no news site, no forum, better than crypto. You just need to follow
better.
Better than Twitter.
Twitter, or you like Steam. I mean, there's stuff
Twitter,
on YouTube.
But Steam is kind of biased. You don't get any real Bitcoin people on it. I think but Twitter is just full of brilliant people having really smart conversations in real time. It's where I get most of my crypto news. It's a great tool.
So let's talk about. I'm gonna do a speed run. How come these are not? How come these are dead? They were like at 20% when we started. But I'm saying they should start at 100 before we start the show. That doesn't make sense to be at 20%. All right, I'm gonna do a speed round. So I'm going on CoinMarketCap. We're just gonna talk about some coins that we haven't talked about because for some people they're interested in, you know, Bitcoin, which is kind of gold 2.0, and other people are interested in these other dealios. All right, live. Let's get our Instagram back. What the fuck is that? Is that a 10 or an 8+?
8+.
Okay, let me do this. I'm gonna give away some cash giveaway while we do this. Let's give away $100. You can buy a little Bitcoin with this. What is the name of the company that Jeremy started that is a predictive tool, predictive marketing analysis tool, kind of like a betting tool using collaborative
You
intelligence?
got a misspelling on the top left.
All right, I'm gonna pick one. Let's see.
Get someone that spells it right. Get someone that spells it right. That guy.
All right. Armin, are you helping taking pictures? Okay. Which one?
I don't care.
Tarek said augur. A-U-G-U-R. Marco, Ty is actually really intelligent and seeing things before they're really big or even bigger. Cardano, somebody talking. Let's start. Somebody mentioned Cardano. So $100 will be PayPal.
Cardano's a new one. I know Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano. Super smart. He's had issues with leading teams before.
What is Cardano's white paper?
I think it's kind of like a better version of Ethereum. Kind of like EOS.
So it's a platform people are going to build on.
Yeah, it's a new blockchain.
Yeah.
But I don't know nearly enough about it to talk about it, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, I'm pulling up CoinMarketCap, and we're just going to go through. Actually, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to be doing a lesson for those of you who are in the program at tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast. This is going to be a fascinating lesson. So those of you, we basically have a mastermind. I'm bringing in, trying to share. We just shared an hour and 12 minutes of free information. Very powerful stuff. But I want to take a handful of you through a 60-day mentorship. That the mentorship I'm going through with these smart guys, these top foundational people like Jeremy, like Brock, all these different teachers like William. And so we're going to do a lesson right now for those of you that are already in. If you're not in, go tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast. 2 words, Bitcoin podcast. And you'll see the page, you'll see how much it costs, you'll see all that stuff. So
You want to say that again here for Insta?
no, we're done with Insta. So we're going to wrap up. I'm going to give away, we said, an iPad mini. And the next question is, what is the name of the technology or the company that banks are using in Japan that Jeremy was talking about? First person, not Litecoin. We're going to let them all catch up here. Somebody said Apple. Got some of the letters correct, but you don't have all of them. Let's see. All right, let's pick a winner here on YouTube. Tell me when to... No, we did YouTube last time. Let's do Twitter. Tell me when to stop. Wait, don't look.
Girl?
Don't look. You
She
gotta...
looks cute. Oh.
No, you can't think like that.
Well, so I'm just choosing based off the pictures.
No, don't do that. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and do it.
Now.
All right. Ripple. Ripple. We got it. No Sicrus or something? We're sending you this bad boy. It's an iPad mini 428 gigs. Thank you. If you live too far away to ship it, we'll send you the money. But if you're in the U.S.
Send them the Bitcoin.
We'll send you the big. We'll send it in. We'll send it in. What should we send it in? Ripple.
Ripple, yeah, it's trading now.
All right. Thank you so much. Make sure you go subscribe to my podcast. That's another thing you want to be. If you just go to iTunes, it's tylopez.com/Bitcoin show. Subscribe there. It's a top 3 business show now in the world. And you can listen to more free stuff. If you want to go through the 60-day mentorship, tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast. That'll redirect you to the exact same place. We're going to record a badass lesson. We're going through the coinmarketcap.com, and we're just talking about other coins and Jeremy's expert opinion. We're going to talk about the ones you're an expert in. We'll skip the ones you're not an expert in. And you'll be learning a lot, because never invest in what you don't understand, period. No matter how much money your friend says you can make. If you want to get in Bitcoin, if you want to get in altcoins, don't invest out of ignorance. Invest out of education and intelligence. And then when the markets move up and down, you'll be able to hold your position and not freak out. When you're just buying because your buddy said, or because it was in, it was on some Forbes article that you saw online, you don't have enough, you don't know what you're doing enough to hold the line, and you make money. He bought ETH at 90 cents, and you held the line on it.
Yeah.
And it's at 700. 700. Do the math on that. That's insane. Basically, every dollar turned into $700. So let's just say those of you like Jeremy, if you had put $10,000 in and you multiply it times 700, you'd have $7 million today, assuming you sold.
Oh, hell. Oh, it sold today.
Sold today.
Don't do that, though.
But you can also rebalance.
You can also
rebalance some into cash.
You can
pull $2 million and keep $5 million in coin and let the thing go and have $2 million in. And one thing that Brock told me, he's diversified into real estate too. Yeah. So that's a hard asset that if crypto falls to crap, he still owns.
Yeah, we've done a few real estate deals.
Yeah.
Startups too. Fun.
All right, we're headed over. You guys are missing out if you're not at tylopez.com/Bitcoin podcast. Get in the program. See you in a minute. Okay. Yeah. I want to start with all these at 95%. What happened to these 2 Instagram photos?
Our backup.
Special guest here. We're going to be talking about a presentation you do not want to miss. We're going to talk about how Dave actually took $100 grand as an experiment. Been doing it in crypto, but not Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about 3 things you probably haven't heard of, and they've jumped to, in the last 8 weeks, he's made about $700,000 profit in 2 months. Now, you can start with $1,000 or $100, but this is just kind of an experiment. And I'm going to do a little introduction for Dave. So I've known Dave for a long time here in LA. And a cool thing about Dave, he catches trends consistently better than most people. So he caught a trend, this new trend in 1995 called the internet. He was one of the first people to be on the internet. He launched a site in 1995. He's made over, what'd you say, over 150 million bucks?
Yeah, over that.
He's made over $150 million in regular business, internet business, which is the second wave of the revolution we've seen in the last 50 years. The first wave was TV in the 1950s and 60s, revolutionizing, business. The second wave was the internet, which started right around when you got started. Amazon started in 94, Dave started in 95, $150 million later, 2014, he bought Bitcoin at $300. And of course, we know now it's up to 17. It's hovering, let's say, 15, 16 plus. But there's an opportunity in what I consider the third wave. It depends on how you think of this. But really, there was that Bitcoin wave. If you had bought Bitcoin in 2010, 2 pizzas sold for 10,000 Bitcoin. Somebody was literally, what was the guy? Laszlo was his name. He was in Florida. He said, I'll give you 10,000 Bitcoin if you give me 2 pizzas. And they did it. And that's $170 million he lost out on. So that was really the third wave, the Bitcoin wave. But there's a 4th wave coming. And that's what we're talking about. And that's in the smaller cryptocurrency coins that everybody's forgotten about. So there's other things besides Bitcoin. Obviously, there's things like, Ether. There's Bitcoin Cash. There's Litecoin. There's all these IOTA and all these things that people are talking about. But there's even smaller, quote-unquote, penny cryptos. Now, they're not penny stocks because it's an incorrect analogy to say that Bitcoin is the same as owning Apple stock, because Apple stock, you own a part of Apple. Bitcoin is more like gold 2.0, digital gold, okay? There's Ripple, there's all of these, and some of these are, protocols like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, and then some of these are utilities. We'll talk about a utility, like a company like Augur, Jeremy Gardner.